Absolutely fantastic. We need to see more stuff like this. Larry Wheels, if you don't know, who is an elite level powerlifter, has recently came off steroids. I actually done a video covering this a while back, which I'll link above. And despite him having an initial worry that he's going to lose all his following and people might not respect him for coming off the gear, I think it's actually done better for him and his brand because it's made him more relatable. Now, we live in the TikTok era. I'll do quite a few TikToks talking about steroids, and there's no subject that gets me more backlash than talking negatively against steroids, because the people on the gear take so much offense to it. I've been around them the last 20 years. I grew up in bodybuilding gyms pretty much before I was even training. I've had friends on them, I've had family on them, I've been close to doing it myself, and I've seen, unless you're making a lot of money from your physique, the upsides to steroids aren't really that great. So it's absolutely amazing when we have someone like Larry Wheels, who's obviously on gear, come out and speak about the negative side effects he was experiencing. On one of his recent videos, he was doing a leg session with Lex Little. If you don't know Lex, he's an upcoming natural influencer. I like Lex. He's all about the natty life, but he's got really good genetics and he's only young. Larry hits a PR on a squat, and then Bradley Martin comes over and they have a little bit of a conversation about the steroids he was on. Now, what I love is the fact that they can just talk so openly about this. They haven't took it out of the video. They've left it in there in order to be real and raw. And that's one thing I'm big on, is just being yourself, being unapologetically real and not giving a crap what people think about you. So check this out. Check out his squat first. 229 kilograms. This is just, if you haven't seen Larry Wheels, this gives you an idea of his capabilities. And this is like after he's off the heavy gear as well.
Yep.
So 229 kilograms, flying. So I think at the moment he's just on TRT.
Come on.
Testosterone replacement therapy, if you don't know what that is. He's still going.
Let's go. Yeah.
It's 20 reps, I think. Just hitting parallel. Good. I swear it's Bradley Martin now.
Yeah, feeling real good. Good to see you, man, for real.
What's up, bro?
What's up? How are you? Okay.
I'm chilling. That's crazy, man. You feel better since like coming down?
So much better.
Yeah.
What he means by that, do you feel better since coming off the gear, since coming down off that crazy high dosage of the Tren and whatever else he was on, Sus, Deche. Tren, which I think Larry was on, is notorious for making you psychotic. It stops you from sleeping, it makes you insane, like super paranoid. It basically just messes with you mentally. I know someone personally who, I've known a few people who've got on Tren actually, and they said like, it just made me crazy. I knew one lad, he went on Tren for 4 weeks, and he said, I had to come off it because when I was on it, all I wanted to do was put me missus' head through the wall. I was like, yeah, maybe that's a good sign that you come off the Tren. He said, I just wanted to batter it. Yeah, maybe if the steroids initiating some domestic violence, that's probably a good sign to get off it.
I'm never going back on that shit again, the way I was doing it. Yeah.
I'm never going on that shit again the way I was doing it. So we know he was doing some heavy stuff.
I just wanted something I can do to maximize my performance, but without compromising my health.
Yeah.
And I figured that out.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah.
So he obviously wants to still have high peak performance because his business is tied to it. So if he just like lost all his gains, lost all his strength, like people are going to buy less of his merchandise, they're going to buy less of his programs, they're not going to go onto his app, so on and so forth. Whatever he is selling, it's going to be harder to sell if now all of a sudden you're not portraying that image. I know what it's like as a personal trainer for the last 12 years because I'm not super jacked. It does put me at a little bit of a disadvantage against someone who is like super jacked, but they don't know what they're talking about as much. People are very visual creatures, and especially the personal training fitness world, obviously it's a superficial world. Larry has to take that into consideration. I'm sure if he had it his way, he'd like to just come off everything and obviously maintain his performance, but at the end of the day, that's not realistic. If you're squatting 230 kilograms for 20 reps, like who can do that naturally? There's probably only maybe a handful of people in the world, maybe a couple people in the world who could probably do that.
Because you were going ham for a minute, huh?
Yeah.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
How long? Fucking 10 years.
And let's not get it twisted. That will have shaven some years off Larry's life. 10 years going ham on the gear. Yeah, that's going to take some time off you. And Larry knows this, of course. I'm not speaking bad about the guy because I actually really like the guy. But at the same time, we do need to look at it as like, well, he's made a lot of money, easily a millionaire by now, like multi-millionaire from all the money he's made as merchandise, his YouTube channel. It's like in the Chris Hemsworth video, which I will link above this. You know, he's made multiple tens of millions, getting like 10, 20, 30 million for these roles as Thor. It kind of makes sense for him to hop on the gear because it's worth it. It's shortening your lifespan, but at least the payoff is decent enough. You're not just doing it to look good for an Instagram post. No, you're getting multiple tens of millions. You know, that's money for your family. That's better security for your house to protect your kids. It's a better quality of life. You never have any monetary problems ever again. So it's completely understandable. If someone was paying me 10 million and I had to get on the gear for a little bit, but it might mean me lose a couple of years of my life, I can see how I would consider that. But obviously I have completely different goals. I don't want to be that size. I still want to be athletic. I come from a fighting background. So for me, it's all about the athleticism, agility, whilst also being strong as well. Sorry to go on a little bit. People often say, why aren't you bigger? And it's like, well, because I don't really exclusively bodybuild. It's only just now I'm going into a 24-week bodybuilding phase just to add a little bit of mass back that I've lost over the last few years. But for me, it's more so just about the athleticism and the fighting ability.
But I'm lucky that I didn't have any permanent damage. Yeah.
You get like heart scans and all that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong, he obviously has had permanent damage, but you just won't know until further down the line.
well, what scared me is I had a heart scan. What do you call it? Echo.
Yeah, echo.
And I had heart palpitation like a month after.
After the scan?
Yeah, so I had some kind of a reaction.
Huh.
And I was like, oh shit, this is it. Yeah.
What he means by that is he thought, oh shit, like I'm gonna die. I've had heart palpitation before because I was slamming the caffeine. A coffee in the morning, double scoop as well, double heaped scoop of coffee. Then I was going into the gym. I was having 2 Monsters, sometimes 3. And then I was getting home and I was having 2 to 3, sometimes 4 coffees again. Also, a full bottle of Pepsi Max, and I didn't realize how much caffeine was in Pepsi Max, and I started getting these heart palpitations, and I remember I just couldn't sleep, and it was nighttime, and I thought, something's going to happen here. If you've ever had heart palpitations, you know it's quite scary. You think like, oh shit, like am I going to die? I was like, right, no more, and I cut out the caffeine. I had the worst few months of my life. I think it contributed to why I was sick for so long. I was sick for about 5-6 months straight. And obviously with COVID and all that crap thrown in the mix. So Larry got heart palpitations a month after his echocardiogram.
Right, it was just from getting the scan done.
Yeah. And everything was good? Size and everything was good?
Size was within the normal range.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Heart size.
That's fucking lit,
Yeah.
baby. That's, I mean, shit. I mean, I feel like there's just some people that just, you couldn't, your body just can withstand more.
But then there are some that can't.
No, of course not. No.
Yeah, so what they're saying here is that some people can actually withstand more steroids than others. You can have one lad who might just take a few small cycles of like stuff that's less harmful and have a heart attack and die. And then you could have someone who blasts the gear for years and years and years, 10, 15, 20 years, and then lives till the like 70 odd. Obviously, there are outliers, but that doesn't disprove the rule. The exception does not disprove the rule.
I don't want people to hear this and think, oh,
Yeah.
he's okay.
No, that's a fact. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's like, the important part is, like, I don't think a lot of people realize getting checked, like blood work, number one, but then also like, especially if you're really considering this line of shit, like the heart scans and actually checking deeper inside. And yeah, you're definitely right. People shouldn't, I'm not saying that to say just fuck it, you'll be good. You have to check, you have to look. So
Absolutely.
that's dope, man.
Yeah, you hear about all these bodybuilders when they are in like their peak bodybuilding prime. A lot of them go and get the blood work done on a monthly basis. It's also important to get these scans and the calcium scans. You need to see how much calcium is built up within your arteries. This is something that a lot of bodybuilders don't check. So they might just get the blood work done and they might just get like a regular scan done, but you need to get the calcium CT scan to make sure that your calcium levels are low within your arteries. So if you're taking gear and you watch my channel, try to remember that. A little bit of realness from Larry Wheels there. Not that he's ever not being real, but I just like the fact he was very open with Bradley about the steroid use. And people see someone like me, and obviously I don't look super jacked, I'm just more of an athlete, and people will be like, well, why are you qualified to speak on it? You're just jealous. This is a common one again. You're just jealous of these bodybuilders because they're jacked and you're not. It's like, nah, I don't want to be like that. So hopefully people listen a little bit more when it is someone like Larry, someone who's been there, done it, someone who's done steroids, hard steroids for 10 years and is now speaking speaking out against it and saying, listen, it's kind of messed me up a little bit and I want to live longer and I'm thinking about kids in the future. Your perspective changes as you get older. I hear a lot of these bodybuilders and lads on TikTok say, oh, you only live once. I say, yeah, but you're 21. You've got no clue about the world. I'm 34. I'm a seasoned vet. I guarantee you, as you get to 30, 32, 33, your perspective on life starts changing completely. And when I see these old head bodybuilders, there's one on TikTok, I don't know his name, goes, I'd rather live like a king than die as a slave. You're 50 years old taking gear. That's not living like a king. How can you say that you're living like a king and I'm not just because I don't take steroids? If you've got kids and you still have that perspective that live like a king, you only live once, you're actively being a bad parent to your kids because you're going to die 10 years early because you can't face losing a little bit of muscle mass in your 50s in order to be able to live longer for your kids. If you do not change your perspective as you get older, you're immature and you're a fool. So that is why I speak out against this stuff. Listen, me subscribers are jumping up so fast right now. I know it might not be crazy to other people, but because I left this channel doing nothing for so long because I was worried about what people think about my opinion and I let life get in the way, I've just left the channel sitting there for years. So now to see us go up by 50, 100, 150 subscribers a day, honestly, I appreciate it so much. I swear down, big things to come from this channel. I'm going to be pushing it to 10,000 subscribers as fast as possible, and then I want to push to 100,000 by the end of this year. I am not slowing down anymore with this YouTube. You can see it in my eyes. I am not going anywhere. You're only going to be seeing more of me face. So if you're a regular viewer or a recent subscriber, I appreciate you. Drop me a little like on the video. It does actually help a bit. And I've got a bunch of links in the description for my training app and my Natural Physique Academy. Go and check them out if you want to build muscle naturally and have an athletic physique. And not only just have an athletic physique, but still be able to move good, still have speed, power, and explosiveness, and not one of these stiff, roided up mofos. Thanks again, guys. Subscribe. See you on the next one.